Good evening, good evening. This is Dr. Larry show. We appreciate you. We love you for tuning in. It's a pleasure to always have you here watching us because Dr. Larry, to tell you the truth, is always providing, sharing, imparting very good informations with us. And then now it's time to present to you, ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Dr. Larry Thomas. How are you, sir?
Hey, how you doing, everybody? As I always say, I want to say it's a pleasure to be here. I hope you all are having a pleasant Sunday. Been a good 2 weeks or so, about a week or so since I've been on, and I've missed being on doing this, whatever. But I had a bunch of other competing responsibilities I had to take care of. But nevertheless, I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad that you all have invited me into your space for this small amount of time, and hopefully we can go ahead and generate a good discussion. What I want to talk about today is bullying.
Bullying, the subject of the day.
Yes, I noticed that's been there's three areas I want to hit on. But the first is bullying, because I've noticed just from events that have taken place here in the States, in our schools, we know that's been going on. That's been a systemic problem over the past several years. Actually, you even say from the time we were little, it's just that bullying, that the dynamic of bullying has changed over this amount of time. For example, when we were kids, we'd have bullies in school, bullies on the playground, kids that try to, do these different things, and to try to intimidate. Why, in fact, bullying by nature is a misuse of power through deliberate, repeated verbal, physical, or social abuse or behavior, and it can be given by by one person to another person, a series of groups. Like when you're in high school, you have like the in group, you have the out group, you have the people that maybe labeled as outcast by the popular kids and the not so popular kids, separatism and things like that.
Rich and poor, everything.
Rich kids, poor kids, things like that. It's always some type of disparity, differences, things like that. People have a tendency to want to point these things out, and in an effort to do so, we have a population of people that want to bully other people, groups that want to bully those that are different. And that kind of brought to my attention after, although it's always been a systemic problem, but because of things that happened this past week, I wanted to generate a discussion with everyone. As far as bullying, these bullies grow up.
They should do.
They become adults.
They should do.
And some of these bullies, they end up becoming like bosses. These bullies, they get in relationships, and some don't modify the behavior. Some, as they mature, these behaviors dissipate. But but some they don't, and they want to have these relationships, end up bullying in their relationships, or end up bullying in their workplace. They end up bullying their peers, bullying
co-workers,
subordinates, things like that. And I mean, it goes beyond your regular, maybe in competition. It goes beyond trash talking. It goes beyond those things. Those are part of the competition. Sometimes that's just in good fun. But I'm talking about spiteful, damaging in nature and intent, bullying or trying to discount another person. One, to either make yourself feel better, when in fact, the fact that some people employ bullying tactics is in a way of masking their own insecurities.
True. A whole lot of people that act this way.
Yes, and sometimes
to downgrade somebody else.
In order for me to feel good about myself, I have to make you feel bad about yourself, and that's not necessarily how it works, and that's definitely not how it works in adulthood.
And then it's also a characteristic of people who are weak. They tend to hide, to disguise the weakness behind that intimidation.
Yes,
and so on and so forth.
And we've heard a term that's used. Not a big fan of the term, but a term that is used called toxic masculinity, as it refers to males, and where they, it's as if they must inflict or establish superiority over others. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not a big fan of that term. But nevertheless, it is a term that we use.
Sure.
So, I want to talk about that. One of the first things I want to talk about is bullying. Do you all? I want you to call in. Let me know. Have you been bullying? What was your experience? Either as a child, how has that affected you?
Yeah.
Because this is going to build on to another discussion. But how has this affected you into your adulthood? If you have been in a work environment and you have been bullied, or you've seen others be bullied, or you've seen people be bullied and you've come to their defense, I'd like to know, what is your take on that? What have you experienced with that? Yeah. If you were in fact a bully, if you were in fact a reformed bully, you used to do it, and you don't do it anymore because you may have realized the detriment of this behavior, or not, or what are your opinions on bullying? The number here is 321-216-6279. We're going to go ahead and take a break, and then we'll be right back. We'd like for you all to give us a call. Let us know your take on bullying.
Wicked. We are back, ladies and gentlemen, and the subject of the day is bullying.
Yeah, we want to talk about how bullying may have affected you, as a child. What were your experiences with that as you in childhood?
Well, I remember when I was at school, I wasn't really a kid who likes to fight. I wasn't into fighting. I was pretty much studious, and I used to joke around and then, be jovial. But at about, I believe I was 13 years of age, in the classroom that I was, in the class that I was, it was like every Friday we were supposed to fight.
Yeah.
At the end of school, we'll go by the seashore, and they pick two guys to go and fight. And this was my first and last fight. Man, I remember. But the guy they choose, the little kid that they choose to fight me at that time, I was a little taller, and a little bigger than him. And then looking at this guy, and then I said, well, it's a win-win situation, so there's really no doubt that I'm gonna beat
this guy. Yeah.
I'm gonna beat him. So Dr. Larry, so when we get there, these guys, they look around.
Oh yeah.
We were in a circle.
Yes.
And then they were applauding, they were applauding and so on and so forth. And then, at that time, we were in the battle zone. And then guess what? I was not prepared. Because once they form that circle, they start clapping. You're supposed to be on your guard.
Yeah.
And then guess what?
Weren't ready.
The guy unexpectedly just jumped on me and grabbed my two legs and then flipped me over. Just like that. Just like that.
See?
I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
But then again, I had to consider the battle was on. Once the circle,
Oh yeah, that was.
I mean,
yeah.
it's a battle. And then, God, Dr. Larry, I got so upset. It was supposed to have been a pleasant fight, but then again, the way that he fought me dirty, then I did not like it, and then I wasn't really, I wasn't expecting him I thought maybe we were gonna just do some Bruce Lee kung fu type of things,
Yeah.
make it nice and clean. At the end of the day,
It wasn't the case.
it wasn't like it was like a sissy fight to me. But my God, when I just got up, man, I got this guy, believe it or not, and I beat. I'm not gonna say it on the air. I beat him up so seriously, and then I got him on the ground. I was just smacking him pretty much to actually get me off of him. So that was the fight. But then again, at the end of the day, I fell, and then
Yeah.
it was like a win-win situation. So I got beat up.
Yeah.
Whichever way you got beat up anyway.
And what we look at, in back in our time of going to school, you have people that bully.
Yeah.
That they'll kids. We used to call it, back where I'm from, they used to call it ranking, right? Some people they call it playing the dozen. Making fun of different people for whatever reasons. Your hair, your shoes, stuff like that. Just make fun of my hair because I had nappy hair.
Yeah.
So just make fun of that, right? And it was just a bunch of other things. But I saw kids getting bullied because they were just different. Kids just you're from a certain area.
Yeah.
And these kids from a different area where you're not as good as us, you're not tough as us, so they want to fight you, things like that.
Yeah.
I've seen, but now, and back then, the way you dealt with that is sometimes you got to get in a circle.
Yeah.
And you got to fight the bully.
Yeah. Of course.
You got to fight the bully. So to at least, even if you lose, so the bully knows you stand up for yourself.
Yeah.
Right. And that was how we dealt with some of these things. Some people, some people handle it different ways, and it wasn't, but that was back then. That was kind of how it was dealt with.
Yeah.
As kids. Now, it's gone on to a different level now, because now we get into what's called cyberbullying.
Yeah.
Cyberbullying, which it's one thing when back when we were kids, someone would bully another person, they would say something about them, and it would just be around this group of kids, or maybe you have the impression that maybe it's around the whole school, but it's not.
It's just between us.
Just between us.
Yeah.
It
wasn't
seems like everybody knows,
escalated.
because everyone that kind of knows.
Yeah.
But now it's like it's people all over that are aware of what goes on, because now someone can take a video.
Yeah. And expose it, and then put it out there.
Being bullied. Someone can take a video of you getting jumped.
Yeah.
You getting beat up by someone. There was a video this week of a kid that there's a video of him getting beat up by I believe he was 18. He was getting beat up by a 15-year-old. It was in high school.
Wow.
And and the kid that was getting beat up, he pulls out a gun, and he in school and shoots. Shoots at this kid. He ends up shooting a couple innocent people as well. But the thing is, as things started coming out about this story, first when it came out was that there was shooting at the school. There was an 18-year-old student.
Yeah.
Then came out, the student was getting bullied by this other kid.
Yeah.
Then it came out, and none of this, I don't know if it's verified or not. These are just things that were said. I don't know the validity of any of this information, but that kid, the 18-year-old kid, was pistol whipped by the 15-year-old kid the day prior, and was robbed the day prior.
Yeah.
And so he brought the gun to school to protect himself. Yeah. So now, and with this video having been taken of him getting jumped and things like that, now this is something that I saw this video on the national news. So if this is national news, that means this is countrywide. Anybody that's watching it.
And then the thing, police claimed that this shooting happened just after a fight.
Yes. Yes.
So which means the fight is the cause.
Yes.
Is the effect that produced the shooting.
Yes.
And then while the mother of this boy said that he had been bullied and robbed twice at the very same school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, and this is his first year at that school.
Yeah.
So I want to know, what are y'all's, take on bullying?
Yeah.
What are you all's experience as far as, what have you seen? Now, again, this happened in, with kids, but again, bear in mind, some of these kids, if this behavior goes unchecked, and I don't mean checked to the point where it gets, radical, where it turns to a shooting or something like that, but if this behavior goes unchecked, these kids grow up to be adults who end up being bullies and end up bullying co-workers, end up believing that this is proper social behavior. And then we see adults on social media that are bullying other adults. In some of the groups that I belong to on Facebook, you're seeing people getting bullied by other people simply because they may have a varied opinion.
It can also go to as far as people being in office, bullying people. Where you can find even a president of a country. I mean, bullying people. So, I'm just because the spirit, it grows up, it develops along the years.
And it's true. These things, and certain things. Again, if this behavior doesn't go unchecked, people believe that because they may have experienced certain levels of success, that gives them the license to go bully others.
Because they're in a position of
they're
authority. And the spirit is already there, so it's like they're more of what they were before.
Yes, and this leads to an abuse of power.
So with more power, they can do more damage.
Yes, because tactics of intimidation, abuse of power, misuse of authority, all of these things all play together. Now, but I want to get some phone calls from some of y'all. Maybe tell me some of your experience with that. What have you noticed? And also, what have you noticed maybe about your kids? Have we been checking on our kids to see to check the wellness of our kids? Because I also heard a story last week of a kid that one of my good friends was talking to me and telling me about a kid who was went through some experiences when he was younger, to include bullying and things like that, and he went into a deep depression because of that. This followed him into his 20s, where he ultimately ended up taking his own life.
Definitely.
And so there are effects to bullying that are on the not necessarily the aggressor, but the person that's the victim. The victim. Bullying, and some of these things carry on into childhood, which carries on to insecurities and things like that. So as this bully who is trying to hide or mask his or her insecurities, they're actually creating insecurities and things in other kids. They grow to be adults, and then they try to invoke this authority or power based on position, whatever, on their fellow adults, to try to further instill this type of inferiority complex on them. Well, let's go to, for example, as we talk about the effects of bullying, one of the effects of bullying,
which can be very catastrophic.
Yeah, very catastrophic. It doesn't always end well, and that's why it's important that we check on maybe our kids. We check on, we have to reflect on ourselves too. Reflect on our own behaviors. Reflect on what things may have been affecting us. What things are affecting us. What have we been bullied? Have you been bullied as a child, and this has had some type of effect on you as you've grown older? Or how did you overcome this? What did you do to overcome this? Now, some people don't. Some people seek into a deep depression, which ultimately, unfortunately, culminates in suicide. Suicide, pretty much a permanent solution to what may be a temporary problem. However, you believe that when you don't see an ending to your situation, then you know, people see no way out.
Most kids at that age, they don't talk about this, what they're experiencing in school.
Yes.
With their parents. That's why, you know, some of them, they commit suicide. I mean, parents will go into their room and find a kid, you know, I mean, just tied up a rope, on his or her neck, and then find that kid dead. And then you know, they would see later, little note, you know, saying that, you know, I mean, all these things are happening in our home. And it's very important to really discuss this, because if the kids, they are not open to their parents, and then they're being bullied in school, that can be very detrimental.
Yeah.
Because I had my daughter, she was like around 9 or 10. She was in elementary school, and then one of the girls, I would say a black girl, you know, she was making fun of her hair, you know, because of the way she combed her hair, you know, she was making fun of her. And then fortunately enough, she was open with me, and then she crying, believe it or not, very sad.
Yes.
You know, she came to me and was telling me with tear in her eyes how that girl was really making her life miserable. And I asked why, because of the way she combed her hair. And I said, okay, well, we'll take care of this. And what I did, I called the school, and they told me to write a letter to the principal, which I did, very nice letter. And then the girl, they find out that she has a story of really bullying people like this. And they had to really change her, send her to another school.
Yeah.
You know, because of that behavior.
And when we have to realize, we lose sight of the fact that kids are very impressionable at this age.
Yeah.
You know,
vulnerable too.
Yeah. Very vulnerable.
Very vulnerable.
Very impressionable. You know, and things like this. How many things? Let's look back at things from our childhood, both good and bad, that we kind of carry with us all the way into adulthood. And how do we let some of these experiences guide or formulate our lives? You know what I'm saying? As we go through, and we have to look at how do we allow these things to affect us?
Yeah.
How do we react to them? Do we grow past these things? Do we maybe find other ways
to deal
with it,
cope,
or for us to maybe feel better about ourselves, to help us to heighten our own self-esteem, because your self-esteem can be affected definitely. And
definitely.
And clearly,
and then Dr. Larry, before you forget what you were gonna say, and it's not just in school; it can be in our own homes.
Yes.
Sometimes you find fathers who are bullying their own kids, and then mothers that are bullying their own kids, and then kids, brothers and sisters, siblings bullying each other.
Siblings bullying
each
other.
And then you find kids that are introverts; they react a certain way, you know, and so on and so forth, and that can also be detrimental.
You have fathers that bully mothers.
Yeah. There
you
have
go. Mothers that bully fathers.
And, and in front of their kids, and so on and so forth.
From kids, you have so some of these people that grow up to be that are kids that grow up to be bullies, where this attitude or this behavior is not checked, they end up becoming bullies in their relationships, and they seek out people who they can bully, who they consider vulnerable.
Correct.
And those are the ones that
it's like they're prey. They're prey. These people, they're like predators.
Yes, because some of these bullies grow up to be narcissistic.
Oh yeah, very much so.
And as they grow up to be narcissistic, they seek out those that are that they believe to be inferior to them. And those they can continue to oppress or damage their self-esteem. I want to hear what you all may have to say. The number is 321-216-6279.
Especially right now with the social media.
Yes.
And then people, they just wanna present themselves for who they are not.
Yes.
And then disguising them. I mean,
social media.
It's like
social media in many ways is a pool of misrepresentation.
Oh my
God! You have people that are saying stuff. As we talk about bullying, we have people on social media that will say stuff behind the screen I call them keyboard warriors or studio gangsters. We have people that will say things from their computer screen in the safety of their own home. They do not dare say either to a person's face or say in a person's presence or in an open forum. But they will proudly say these things when they are not in surveillance under a fake name and stuff like that. And that's bullying. That's bullying. These are people that are exercising narcissistic behavior that are being detrimental to other people. And it's very unfortunate that these things happen. And these, adulting. It comes down to adulting. That is not proper behavior for adults. And if you disagree or if you agree with what I'm saying, by all means give a call or you can post it right here in the chat. But I'm willing and more than willing and able to have this conversation. If you know of anyone that's been affected by bullying, that's been affected by being in a relationship with a narcissist, someone that is bullying you. If in fact you are that person, someone that has been said to have bullied other people. I've been said to. I've been said at times.
I mean, is there any? I mean, we're not going to confound bullying and conflict. At times, there are conflicts between
a conflict between
us, where things are being said that could be very demeaning to the other.
Sometimes things can be said. Sometimes things can be said that can be taken wrong, or things can be said that are hurtful to another person. And sometimes we do say things, and we may, inadvertently or mistakenly say things that we should not say, or and it's going back and saying, hey, I apologize.
Of course.
But when you go back and you apologize, you make note of that so you do not
do it again.
A repeat offender. However, when someone's bullying you, first and foremost, they're not going to apologize for the
no
behavior.
Regrets, no remorse, no nothing.
No regrets, no remorse or anything. Or you have those that will say, I apologize, only to intentionally come back and inflict those same behaviors and attitudes again. You know what I'm saying? So it goes both ways, but we need to, but bullying is bullying, and it is totally unacceptable. I can't think of a time when it is. Now, bullying and standing up for yourself, of course, those are two vastly different things. Standing up for yourself is something different. But bullying is trying to inflict pain, verbal abuse, things like that. Someone says here, you have bullies and the parents know they're bullied and won't do anything about it. And that is the problem. That is the problem, because you know, and I heard someone say on the radio, I won't use their exact terminology, but you know if your child is a bully. I'll say this. Most parents know if their child is a bully or not. But we also, just as we were coming up, we may be a different person from our parents than we are in front of other people. True. However, that's why it's important to have that lines of communication and to sit down and talk to your children. Tell you, bullying is not acceptable. If you are a bully, this is appropriate behavior. And you need to model that behavior. You need to tell your children what is the appropriate behavior. Right? If they are being bullied, they, let them know that they have access to come and talk to you, so that and you can address any of those problems. Because in the situation we're talking about in Texas, children should go to school to feel safe. You should feel safe in your workplace.
Definitely.
You should feel safe in going to your day-to-day life. Let's talk about bullying in the church. See, a lot of people don't want to have that conversation. But there's bullying that takes places in church when we talk. I know the term that's really used, you hear it used a lot, cliques. People have their own little clique.
A little posse.
Their own little group. their own little group.
Yeah.
And this the group that always does this. And they this is like they consider themselves the upper crust, the upper echelon.
Yeah,
and they're so much better than everybody else.
It's what they call the herd mentality.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
The
Herd
herd mentality is like
now someone says here, what does the child do when they can't get an answer at home or in school? And that is again, that is a problem as well, because unfortunately the biggest influence on teenagers back when we were kids, one of the biggest influences on teenagers were other teenagers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, with social media, the biggest influence on a lot of our kids are social media platforms and other teenagers. Yeah. Right? But that's why it's very important to have that open line of communication and let your kids know that you are there and you can talk to them. And even as they're adults, there should always be some type of line of communication. Yeah. And your children should be able to come to you as the first line of defense as far as addressing their problems, where they can let you know exactly what's going on, and you can help to guide them through whatever the situation is. True. If it's an issue that's taking place in school, then yes, by all means, as a parent, of course you should go up there and address it and things like that, right? If it is situations happening in the workplace, your child's workplace or something, you can tell your child based on your experience, maybe ways that he or she can handle these things as an adult, how you can handle some of these issues. Yeah. But surely, of course, as an adult, fighting is not the answer. Okay, you use your words, you use your intellect. Yeah. As a child, when you have one of the biggest issues you have with young boys, I can only speak from my point of reference with young men. Yeah. And it's at that age. Yeah. You have this testosterone. Yeah. You have kids, this masculinity. I got to show I'm stronger than you. I've got to do this, I've got to do that.
Invincible,
macho, etc.
Always have to prove. Yes. I got to show.
In order for me to show that I'm stronger, in order for me to show that I'm strong, I got to be able to beat somebody. Yeah. I got to feel like I'm better than somebody. Right. Yeah. So.
And it's like they fall under the pressure to show off like that. Yes. And then the girls once you like show this, the girls they're applauding.
Some girls
they're cheerleading. You go, man.
Some girls are impressed by that. Now, as we get older, and unfortunately, there are some that are still impressed by this kind of stuff. There's some that are still impressed by the big muscles, all these things right here. I got a dad bod, so I'm absolutely unimpressed. However, you do see these things happen,
and then that's where we're not talking about this, but then again, I mean, maybe one of these days we should have a subject on peer pressure.
Yes.
Because this is another one of it. This is an epidemic in itself, and then it's causing all of this to happen.
Yes. Yeah. Peer pressure. Yeah. Peer pressure, and that's a form of bullying. Yeah. As well. Someone says here, they left the church because these so-called cliques.
Yeah, cliques.
It's so sad because every church has a group. They make you feel small and left out. You have to be strong in your faith. And at a time, I wasn't. And that's true. And
oh, she left the church for that?
She left a church because of that.
Okay, well, sorry to hear that.
Well, now that we talk about that, let's talk about this then. Let's talk about why we don't get some young folk in the church now. Because they get there and they get bullied. Yeah. Because they don't look a certain way, their hair isn't a certain way. We don't want you in the church because you have dreads. You can't wear this or that to church. You can't be a certain way.
So it's not inviting.
Yes, and now we're talking. And
then
from
the church is so holy.
Yeah.
So it can't really accept the welcome.
Yeah.
As youngsters.
We have the saved. We have the saved that have their noses turned up to those that are not saved. When in fact they could be putting them closer to the word.
True.
But now, I'm not turning this into a religious thing.
And then they have this way of looking at you. If you appear to be different, if you dress, if your hair is a little different,
or you don't look the way they believe that you should look in the house of the Lord, then they, you know what I'm saying? Well, I'm not. I promise, I'm not turning this into a religious thing.
But this is true. This is true.
So now let's put all this together.
Yeah.
Let's put all this together. Again, these kids, they're being bullied in school. If that attitude is left unchecked, they become adults.
Yeah.
And this radiates into other aspects.
Yeah.
For example, they grow up to be adults and they radiate this bullying attitude in the workplace,
and at home,
church, at
the
home,
wives or husbands,
in their relationships, and it becomes toxic.
Yeah, toxic.
And
then if we're not careful, we're creating a toxic society if we really accept it and don't try to do anything about it.
Parents who are out there that are exhibiting these types of behaviors need to realize one important thing. See, we teach everything that we know, but we reproduce through our attitudes and behaviors what we actually are.
Yeah, definitely.
So if you are in fact toxic and you are radiating this attitude, that is what you are producing.
And then this is why the kids, they don't learn by what you say. It's by your actions, by the way you present yourself, the way you act.
This act, you have reproduced this toxic behavior that radiates and is outspread to the schools, to the church, to the workplace, to all these things. We all know people. I'm surprised no one's calling in. Perhaps none of you have experienced any toxicity in your lives, but there are people who do, who have experienced. Everyone has, just about everyone I would say has a small population, or at least one or two people in their work environment that are somewhat toxic.
Definitely.
Have dealt with toxic attitudes sometime this week. Some of you, today is Sunday, some of you have dealt with toxic attitudes, or you have avoided people in your church. You have avoided people in your neighborhood. You have avoided some family members you don't associate with because they are in fact toxic.
Then you have bosses in workplace. It's not only on school, as you mentioned it. At the job place, where the bosses that are on top, and then if, let's say, for instance, you've got a pretty woman working in that workplace, can you imagine the pressure if that boss would want to get to know this woman, and then she's resisting, and then this boss is a bully, and then just picture this a little bit, and then you'd see
when these things happen, and that delves into the realm of abuse of power. That delves into sexual impropriety, or just impropriety in the workplace. That turns into harassment. That turns into misconduct. That turns into all of these different things. Definitely, as I previously mentioned, definitely turns into an abuse of power, an abuse of authority. And that creates a toxic environment.
And then you could have a boss
overall.
And then you're an employee. And then the boss is intimidated by you because you bring your intelligence, charisma into the job place. And the management, they recognize it, and this very boss
sometimes
is unqualified.
Sometimes this bullying is a result of jealousy. Sometimes this bullying is a result of jealousy because they're like, you know what? You're coming into the workplace, but you know what? I need to take this person down a notch or two. This person thinks that they're so smart. This person thinks they're this, they're that. Well, guess what? I'm going to take you down a notch. You're not as high and mighty as you may think you are. And it's appalling. Wow. Now you find many pastors welcoming people that have tattoos, earrings, and crazy hair because their hearts are pure. You have these same old timers coming Sunday after Sunday, only to see what others have on, or to find a husband. They still doing that. All right. You know what? You should call in. You should call in, Tawanda.
Oh, Tawanda.
Tawanda, you
Hey,
should
Tawanda.
call in.
Oh, yeah.
This is this is a good one. This is a good. Now, you know what?
She has a lot to say.
All right, you took it there. We're gonna talk about this. You know, I've seen people.
Yeah.
You know, and I know she knows, and I know she knows what I'm talking. I know you know what I'm talking about because we grew up in the same church, and there were people that would sit there. I remember as a kid hearing adults talk about it, and some of the worst were like in the choir stuff, right? But you would hear adults talk. Oh, look at that suit. Look like he slept in that suit. Look at those shoes. Yeah. Oh, I don't believe she's wearing this. I don't believe he's wearing that. Well, if you keep your attention on why you're there, it doesn't matter what you're wearing. Because as we're taught, this is just it's what's in here.
Yeah.
It's what's in here.
Yeah.
But we're not concerned about what's in. We want to know what the packaging and what. Now, these same people that are so concerned about the packaging are the ones that will tell you all this shit, all that glitters is not gold, and we know this.
Yeah.
But we don't exercise that. Hello, who we got? Hello?
Hello, can you hear us?
Hello, can you hear us?
Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Are you there?
Hold on 1 second. Okay, hello?
Hello?
Yes, we got you.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine.
Tell us your name and
Who we got here?
where you calling
This is
from?
Tawanda.
All right. What's up, girl?
Hey, what's up? I said, let me just.
Man, you know something?
Talk to us.
Man, when you said that one right there, yeah, that's a word.
She nailed it.
That's a word right there. That's a word.
Okay, you guys are going in and out.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you a little bit.
Okay, I said when you made that statement about the church, that's a word right there. That's for sure.
Yes. It's it's sad. I was a member of this this huge church, and I'll tell you, and when I first joined, and I noticed it immediately. You have these different groups. You have a group there that your whole family goes to. The same church, and they have they different groups and different cliques, and you have a clique over here, a clique over there, and they're not too welcoming, and it's sad, especially if you come into a new church, you're by yourself, and
yes,
you're trying to fit in, and that's the worst when you're trying to fit in, trying to make new friends, and it's sad. It's sad because I was there for quite a long time. I was there for almost 9 years.
Oh.
And I was a member of the choir, and that's all I knew basically. I was like, it was like crazy because that's all I knew. I knew the word, and I knew of the choir, the group. But after that, what was left? I didn't know anything else. I mean, I would go home, not too many friends for 9 years. Like, nah, something's just not right.
Yeah.
When
something doesn't sit right in your spirit.
Yeah, it's just didn't feel right any longer, and I just made this decision. I'm just going to leave, and that's what I did.
Well, remember, I won't say any names, but you remember the church we grew up in.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you remember how every year they used to have, I don't know, I mean, I've been there like for years now because I left Connecticut. But remember they used to have the oratory contest.
Yes.
And
Yes.
There was only a certain group of kids that would win that, and it was because of their parents.
Oh, my God. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yes. Couldn't understand it.
And
yes.
And it was all because, because their parents were this, their parents were that.
Yes.
And and there were all types of cliques, and we would
unbelievable.
You would hear people being made fun of because they wore certain things. I can't believe they dressed their daughter like that. I can't believe they got their hair like that. Yeah.
And then in church, I'm quite sure you guys felt so bad. I mean, if you were aware of what's going on.
I'm not sure.
Understand it.
I'm not sure about
at that point, we were, Larry and I was very young.
Yeah.
We were very young when, things were going on there, but we didn't understand quite what was going on, but we knew something was going on.
Yeah, we knew something was going on, but we were just kids, and we were just like, we were at the age at that point. We were at the age where we were going because our parents were taking us.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we were at that age where we were going there to see friends. Yeah. We was going there to see our friends. You weren't going there for.
But I believe your parents, they were aware of it all. Except they were trying to be humble, to be nice.
I'm not sure about
not trying to rock the boat or something like that.
I mean,
this is how it is. Let's just.
I'm not sure.
Because
I'm not
as
sure
a parent, you won't feel bad if you see this going on. Tawanda, if you have your kids and then they're going in such a church and then seeing how things are, won't you feel bad and then confront them for what they're doing? Because you, as the parents, you notice it, you live in it.
But Tawanda and of course chime in, but I can't speak from your perspective. But from my perspective, when your parent is what's the word I'm looking for? In some groups, is a part of that mess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
It's acceptable.
I mean, when your parent is in not certain groups, but is in other groups that are part of some of the rumors, and they're part of some of the rumors. Maybe not starting the rumors, but they done heard this now. It's just that we find out as we get older. We learn as we get older.
Okay.
And I'm not putting parents on blast, but in a sense, I'm just saying, we know that it's just as bad when you hear a rumor. Yeah. It's just as bad to go ahead and repeat it and perpetuate it.
Yeah, and that's true.
And if you're a person, and if someone goes and tells you some rumor or something right now, someone comes to you and tells you some mess, right?
Right.
And you say, really? Well, is it true? Well, I don't know. It's true. I heard this. I heard that.
Yeah.
They want you to feed it, but if you don't get involved in that, some people get upset because you won't bite on the bait.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They get mad because you don't bite on the bait. And the thing is, you need when people come to you with rumors, and I think that's another topic of discussion we're gonna have in the future.
They just want you to join in.
When people talk about
they be trying.
When people come to you with rumors, it should go through 3 gates, right? It should go through, or basically, it should go through 3 rooms. One room is it true? The other room is it relevant? And the other thing is it nice? Is it useful?
Yeah.
Is it nice?
Of course.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
if what they're telling you is not nice,
what do I gain? How does it benefit me?
If what they're telling you is not true, if they're telling you is not relevant, then it is not worth repeating.
See, I'm at the point now. I mean, if I'm in a group conversation and someone comes to that group and start talking about a whole different topic or discuss something that start talking about someone else, if that's not right, see, I don't have no problem just leaving.
Yeah,
I will stop what I'm doing and I will completely just take myself out of that.
And you know something? And the thing
I will leave. I will leave the group I won't even say. I would just leave.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to put myself in that. I mean, it took a lot of growing up to get at that point.
Yes.
Of the gossiping, but right now where I'm at, I can't deal with that.
Yeah.
And that's my point. As you get older or you get more mature, and you realize you know this is just wasted time.
Yeah.
You know this wasted time that you're spending on people that want to they want to keep stuff going. They want to do these types of things. But now we also live in an era, where we have adults now that are going on. Not only are they starting some of these rumors, but now it's one thing.
It's popular.
Okay, when we were kids, they will have a rumor, and at least that rumor stayed in the church. It stayed. It stayed among the members. In fact, I can think of a specific incident with and I won't say any names, but our pastor. You know who I'm talking about. I guess he had a daughter that happened to appear. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And all types of rumors and things happened to come about and all this kind of stuff, right? But it was something that was said, and it was talked about among the members. I heard my mom talking to somebody about it. So you know what I'm talking about. So, but this was said and talked about in the church, right? Now we live in an era where this isn't just talking about in the church. Now these people leave church, they go on to social media, and this is around the country,
in
around
a minute.
the world.
What?
And people are people that don't even know the whole. It's bad enough stories get manipulated in a small group. Now we're talking, millions of people.
That was so true, because like I said, when I was a part of this big church, you guys, I mean, everybody goes to this big church, but the pastor, the assistant pastor, got word out things where he was doing whatever on social media. I mean, on social media, it got on social media to the point that one Sunday morning, it got that bad that he, the bishop had to, they had to get up Sunday morning and apologize to the congregation that stuff got out, and they had to ask us for forgiveness.
And so now imagine this: grown people, church folk on social media beefing. I mean, it was crazy. It was crazy.
So it's like it's
crazy.
They do what's trending. It's trending. It's trending. So
now
views, everything. It's like
now let's
everything.
I want to get them views.
Now let's bring this back. Because now you have these people in church that are doing these things, that are beefing on social media, right? Kids, like for us, when we were kids, we didn't know what was going on. We saw what was going on. We heard bits and pieces. We were kids. We were just trying to see how it worked, right? But some of these kids, they take this to school.
Yeah.
Some of us went to school with kids that were in church with us.
Yeah,
and some of these things, my mom said this about your mom. My dad said this about your dad. You came to church dressed like this because you poor. You remember these type of conversations that took place with people? Yep. All these things.
I tell you.
And so again, we teach what we know, but we produce what we are. And then when these parents get told your kid is behaving a certain way, and even in this day and age, parents get told, they get called to the school, or they get told, hey, your kid was doing this, and this. Oh, well, he got it honestly. He get it from his mom. Or he got an attitude just like that. Don't make it right.
Right. Well, that's supposed to be. Right.
That don't make it right. Yeah. That doesn't make it right.
Well, that's supposed to mean. Right.
That no way makes it right. That no way we get into it. We get so focused on trying to justify bad behavior that we don't want to fix the problem.
By blaming others.
Nowadays you have students, going to school that are getting into fights. Even if the kid didn't start the fight, if another kid start the fight, you have parents coming down to the school, and the kid be like, well, mom, I didn't start the fight. And then the parents like, okay, well, did you hit him back? Did you win?
Yeah.
So it's saying like it's okay as long as that kid didn't start it, but the other kid started.
Yeah,
so this child ain't gonna get into trouble because the parent is teaching the child, long as you don't start the fight, but you better finish the fight.
And, well, you remember during our time, it was like you go out there, you get beat. If they beat you better not come home. If they beat you, I'm gonna beat you.
You still get beat up.
Remember that's still going on. Yeah.
And you got parents that they're out there.
They still doing that.
Instead of teaching their kids to use their words, right? And what are kids doing on top of that? Kids they're fighting other kids. They're videotape. They're recording this with their phones, posting this on social media. At my son's school, they would have bathrooms. They would, between class, they go in the bathroom and do shadow boxing, which turns, of course, into real fighting, right? And my son's a pretty good sized kid, and one of his buddies like, you should get in it. I told my son, don't get in that. Yeah. I told him, don't get in that. I said, and don't expect me to come to your defense when you get caught doing something foolish.
That's right. That's good parenting. That's right.
You're gonna stand fully accountable for your actions, and whatever they don't do to you, I'm gonna fill in the gap.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
No, that's real true.
Because the thing is, again, we reproduce what they are. My goal is to reproduce accountability. People are going to be accountable for their actions. Young men are going to be accountable for their actions, and not to get involved in that kind of foolishness. Peer pressure.
Well, I'm not saying, it's kind of, not saying, you go to school and somebody's pounding on you not to do anything. I mean, that's different. It's kind of different, but,
self-defense. Self-defense.
Right. That's different.
But it shouldn't come, if you're in school, it should not come to the point where one person, either the aggressor or the one that's the victim, should be beating the pulp out of anybody, because at some point there should be a teacher. Remember, in our high school we had this is down here they're acting like this is something new, but in our high school we had resource officers in our high school already.
We sure did.
To intervene.
It wasn't none of that foolishness over it. I ain't gonna say the name of the school, but wasn't none of that foolishness there.
Yeah, I mean, we had, man, please, I would love, we had good times. Good times at that school.
Yeah, we had some really good times.
We sure did.
We could hang out outside.
We sure did.
It was good, safe.
It was.
It was all of that. Now there was.
We had good times.
I went to all three high schools up there. Right. I went to all three high schools. Right. So the first high school I went to, I'm not gonna say no names, but it was on the north end, and after my freshman year, then I went cross town to the other school, which opened my eyes to a lot of stuff. Right. It opened my eyes to a lot of stuff. There was only a handful of, there's only a handful of African Americans that was at that school, right? And then, but there wasn't really a lot of bullying. There wasn't a lot of that stuff. Yeah, we saw a little bit, but not a lot. But everybody kind of got along. Our group kind of, everybody just was doing their thing, going to class, doing their thing, right? And then, we graduated, did our thing, and just got out of there. I had problems my senior year, ended up leaving, ended up going to the third school, and I was like class of 87 and a half. You know what I'm saying? But the point is, we had the resource officers that were there. Things didn't get out of hand like that. The first school, things did potentially sometimes get out of hand. There was a lot of testosterone going around in that school. A lot of stuff going on. You know what I'm talking about. But and plus the locale of that school too was right next to, right in the middle of two developments. Let me put it that way, 2 developments.
Okay.
And so there was a lot of things that were going on there. On the other side, it was just a melting pot of people. We saw things, but things that I saw was outside of the school. As I walked over, like a block over, that one area that was that Italian street, right? Well, I walk through there, I see different things.
All different.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
But it wasn't nothing. It wasn't no.
No, it wasn't.
No. Everybody. It was a better environment. Everybody kind of worked together, and everybody kind of helped each other. We all went our different. We all had maybe different paths. Different. My thing was choir in school, right? Yeah. But we all had our thing. Your thing, you did track for a while, right?
Right, and that's where I found. That's where I found my comfort zone.
Yes.
Because I don't know if I came in late on the conversation. I don't know if y'all talked about the depression and all of that.
Yes, I talked about the incident.
Suicide or anything like that. But I found my peace track and field. That's where, growing up and, feeling depressed. And I went through the depression, not the suicidal thoughts, but I was very depressed. Losing my mom at a very young age and being raised by my aunt, not feeling the love. And she's, was raised with, she also had 2 children. And we felt the difference, being loved by, her and being, she, Larry, what I'm trying to say.
I know what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're saying.
Being
different.
She loved her children more than me and my sister.
Yeah.
So that took a lot. Right. So I was very depressed and going to school.
Yeah.
I loved it. Everything about school I love, especially sports. Getting away. The coaches was great. They loved me, and I loved track. And I was good at it. So
she was really
I was excellent. I mean, good to. I mean, I was bad. I mean, heard my name on the loudspeaker every time.
That was actually a therapy for her.
Yes,
she used it as a therapy.
and that's the thing. Yeah, we have to find.
I gotta.
I
was really smart of you.
We have to find things to help us make it through.
Loved it. That's where that's why to go back for a couple weeks ago, that's why I said that some kids aren't ready to go to college, and I meant that because I got a 4-year scholarship from Doc Hurley for track.
Doc Hurley. His
and
wife was my 5th grade teacher.
And the reason why I left home because I needed to get away from that environment. I wasn't ready for college, Larry. I wasn't ready for that. I left home to get away from being depressed.
Well, I will tell you.
So that's what I'm saying. Some kids are not ready to go to school, college, and some kids.
I tell you, I fully
agree
what I mean?
And
I fully agree.
Why do you say that? I mean, why?
Well, well, speaking for me, it was tough. I mean, I barely got through high school. I had to keep I had to keep a certain average to stay on track, but I had teachers to help me. So some things came easy to others. It came very hard for me. I had tutors to help me. So, like I said, learning was very harder for me. So I wasn't ready to go to college. And like I said, if I didn't get the scholarship, I probably would have made here, in Hartford. But I needed to get away, and by going to Virginia, I felt that was the best thing for me to do. But going to college, I just wasn't mentally ready for that.
And
I wasn't.
I would tell you, I agree.
Falling in love, meeting my husband there, and it didn't finish anyway.
I would tell you that we've all. I mean, when I left, and many, actually many of us in our group, in my group, your group, in me and you, Tawanda's group, you know, a couple of our friends that college, yeah, they didn't go to college right afterward.
Yeah.
You know, there were other things, you know, because I wasn't mentally prepared after high school. I definitely, you know, and I started doing this at a young age, kind of doing a personal analysis of myself.
Okay.
And I knew that I wasn't ready. I knew I wasn't college material.
Okay.
I also, during that time period, my high school years for me, high school was rough.
Good.
Right.
Yeah.
And the reason high school was rough for me was because I every day I went to high school, I put on this face of being the happy person. I wanted to make other people laugh. I wanted to do these things and be a part. Now, yes, I found my niche.
But
in
you
the
were
corner.
hiding.
Yeah, I was hiding a very depressed person.
Wow.
I entertained.
Where did the depression came from? Where did that?
It came from a lot of different places. You know, it came from the fact that, you know, I didn't really have good
Relationship
good self-esteem. Right?
Yes, yes,
I didn't
yes.
have, instead of having role models, I had what I refer to as, in many cases, anti-role models. I saw a lot of examples of what not to be. I didn't see examples of what to be. I didn't feel that I was smart enough. I didn't feel I was smart enough. That I was good enough, right? I didn't have any game with the girls. You know, none of that kind of stuff, right? And then the one person that I did in high school really took me through the ringer. But I'm not going there. But anyway, but the thing is, I entertained. I went into that depression. Yeah. I went into the thoughts of the suicide. I went into that. You know what I'm saying? And I went into that. But I would say that, you know, there were certain things that kind of, you know, I didn't do it because I was like, you know, when I left high school and I went into the Army. Right. It was to the point where, and it was actually I signed up for the Army my junior year, and there were 3 other people in our class. I'm not going to say their names, but they actually went into the Marines, and they were actually trying to get me to go into the Marines with them. One was really big at football. Anyway, they were trying to talk me into going to the Marines, and I opted. I took the entrance exam to the Army, and I scored high on it. Okay. But they didn't score high on the Marines, and I knew I would have ended up going in there with them and doing some stuff I wouldn't like. And I've always had the mentality as well, is that I'm in this by myself. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Right. I throw myself, and I've always had this attitude. Even when I throw myself out to the wolves. I throw myself out into the lake with the gators, and I fight my way out and get to where I am. And I didn't feel like I owed anybody anything. But then the fact that I felt that I was not good enough sometimes made me push harder. Yes. But I also felt, like I said, I felt determination, but I also felt a lot of depression. And I really fell deep into that. And when things happened, it was just like I was accepting of bad things that happened because I felt that I was deserving of those bad things.
If it doesn't kill you, it'll make you stronger, of course.
And it's not like some people could go to their families and their families would give them that encouragement. Their families would give them that
build their self-esteem.
Build their self-esteem up. But I had family members that outright told me I wasn't smart enough. Oh wow! I had family outright tell me that I wasn't going to be. Yeah,
you were not measuring up. Things like that.
They were literally telling me I had no future. I wouldn't do these. One person you and I know very well. That's a relative of mine. That you know someone. The person we hang out with. That was a relative of mine. His grandmother told me I wasn't gonna be nothing. I wasn't. I've had people tell me this, but the thing is, I'm like, I've always said this. You know, I say, you know what? People say what they want, but I got to do this on my own.
Definitely.
Right?
Well,
and so again, I knew that I wasn't ready for college when I graduated high school. Probably went along with that. I probably went along talking a little more than I probably should. But anyway, when I went off to high school, when I went into the Army, I knew I wasn't ready for college, but I also felt that maybe one day I would be.
Yeah.
And the one of the best decisions I made when I joined the Army was took that college money, because when I got out, you know, there were certain things. And we'll have another thing one day, maybe on just faith, how that pushes us through. Okay. But there were things I prayed for, and things as I reflected back at the end of the journey, how these things were put into place, right? And I mean, I never thought that I'd be sitting here and have a doctorate degree. Never thought I'd do that.
Amen.
You know?
By the grace of God, you made
never
it.
thought I'd do any of that. And I mean, and of course, there's a testimony in that.
And then you know, you could have seen some people that have gone through the same experiences or similar experiences. They died. They gave up.
And I will be honest. I mean, and there are times right now. I can honestly say there are times that you know, I do kind of slump down, kind of into a depression sometimes. You know, it's a little bit better. That is a current struggle, consistent struggle that I sometimes have with depression. But I've noticed that things that I've done in the past are a result of that depression.
Right.
But when you acknowledge it, then you can navigate.
Right. We can, and it's good to look back and thank God for change, though. When you know that you're changing, and that's good. That when we can say that. I can okay, Wanda, but look, you changed. You came so far, and look what you overcome. You did this, and you're doing this now. You're not where you used to be, and look, you're smiling. You can encourage someone else, and I thank God, man. You know, wow. I can sit back wow, man.
I will tell you.
So it's a good thing. You know,
it never fails when my best friend get together, because he flies down here. I might be coming up actually Norway shortly. I'm not sure. But when I get together and we're sitting out there either on the beach or somewhere, or we're sitting somewhere having a drink, having a cigar lounge, right? First thing we think is, wow, who would have thought that you know two of us would have who would have thought two of us from Connecticut would be where we are right now. But it was great talking to you, Wanda, and to Wanda.
Oh yes, always. And I thank you guys too, because you know this always had been kind of I want to say a fit, you know, something that I always kind of had a fear. To do talking among other people. That's always been oh God, girl, I gotta do this. I don't know how I'm gonna get the courage. I might say something wrong, but it feels great. The more I do it, the more I talk among others. And
I will tell you this:
you're good.
You are always in a safe zone here.
Yeah, you're awesome.
You are always in a safe zone, and I appreciate your support, and I appreciate you calling.
Yeah,
definitely. You know, I never thought that I'd actually be able to do this right here, and I really appreciate it. And that's, you are the reason why I'm doing stuff like this. You know, because I want people to feel like they have a voice. And they can call, and I can provide that. I like to speak. You know, I would love to be able to do this on a national level. Let everybody talk about it.
It's coming. It's coming. It's coming.
Just so I can reach out.
And then when he does, Tawanda is going to be one of the hosts.
Oh, she's going to be a guest. She's going to be a guest, definitely.
A guest, that's it.
But I want to say, thanks a lot for your support. Please be sure to like and share this with everybody. Get your sister out here too. I want to hear from her.
Everybody.
Get on there.
Okay.
All right, talk to you later. Have a blessed one.
All right, you guys have a good evening.
All right, you too. You do
okay, stay blessed.
All
okay.
Right, thank you. Okay, bye.
Later.
Are we taking a break, Dr. Larry?
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a break. We had a long interlude right there. Number 321-216-6279. We're talking about bullying, suicide, depression, what we've done to overcome these things, what experience we may have had with these things. Please call in. Love to hear from you. We'll go
321-216-6279. Dr. Larry, I believe we had the red carpet limousine out there. We are sorry. Something happened where, in quest of getting the queen in, we forget manners.
Yes.
So we were in the open, wide open. They were seeing everything we were doing.
Oh, awesome.
So in quest of just trying to get the queen with the limousine, red carpet, and everything, we forget protocols, we forget manners, just because we have to, welcome the queen.
Yes, and the queen is in the building.
The queen should be welcome.
But we want to go ahead and wrap this thing up. I want to say thank you very much for calling in. As usual, thank you for allowing me to share this space and time with you. I realize you all could have been anywhere this evening, however you chose to be here, spending this time with me, and I really appreciate that. As I close every show with saying, the journey of life is a lesson. The classroom is always open. I will be here next week. We'll have another topic. Hopefully, we can get some more calls in,
Definitely.
get you all involved in the conversation.
And thank you, Tawanda.
Yes, thank you, Tawanda, for your phone call.
Yeah.
Hope that you all have a very productive week as you move forward, and look forward to seeing you next Sunday. Thank you very much.
We want to say hi to Dexter in the Philippines.
And Dexter.
Harry.
Dexter, you did not wake up this morning in time. And Harry, obviously you're out there and you are patrolling and keeping the streets safe.
Yeah.
I want to say you be safe out there as well. Thank you to you all. Have a very productive week. Until next time.
All right, thank you so much. Have a good